Time for episode 3, mung beans. Battery exhausted, she says. I'm fucking exhausted. Right, this is a tough one to make. I'm going to put that out there. It's a tough episode to make. This episode is purely the fret job of this. Because I'd say a handful, but it's more than a handful of people want me to do a detailed fret job. So there is a caveat before I start this episode. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to part 3. If you've not watched the other 2 parts, you're weird. And if you've not subscribed, then you're going to get slightly less love from me. That's all I'm going to say. Honestly, I couldn't give a fuck. But it's good for my ego, so fill your boots. Fret jobs are a coveted process. There are luthiers out there, you've all watched the videos and you've all seen the comments in forums that are so protective. Are my lights on? That are so protective about their process. And let's be honest, there are a lot of processes out there. Everyone does it a little bit differently. What I'm about to show you, may the Lord make it know, what I'm about to show you is my current process. If you're watching this in 2 years' time, I might be doing it completely fucking differently, all right? It doesn't matter. And I watch other people's processes and mine evolve because of it, all right? The end result is the only thing that really matters and whatever's comfortable for you. So this is a way of doing a fret job. I'm using StewMac cryo wire, fret wire, which apparently is harder than normal wire, but not as hard as stainless steel. I'm going to pre-radius it to go on my 12-inch fretboard. I'm going to nip the tangs because we've got binding. I'm going to tidy that up. We're going to get them pressed in with a tiny bit of CA glue. That's the first point of contention. Some people don't like the addition of CA glue. I'll share my thoughts as we go. Some people like to fill it with hide glue, pig pubes, all sorts of different stuff. They just spaff. No, they don't. I've never seen that, but I would watch it, let's be honest. It gets dark pretty quick around here. Right, over here is my fret winder. I'll bring in little Dave so you can see me wind a fret. We're going to fire through this. This is going to be the entire video. Here's a fret winder. That bit goes up and down to determine your radii. That goes in upside down. I think this is a bit harsh at the minute. In it goes. That should be more than a 12-inch radii. You want it to be more. A bigger curve. Yes, perfect. A bigger curve than the fretboard, all right? Higher in the middle, so it's going to tap down into the slot. There's your first little nugget of information. And believe me, I am a fucking nugget. Lovely. 2 should be plenty. Or as they said in the old days, ample. So very difficult to make a fret job a funny video, so I apologise. Oh, unsubscribe. Yeah. First job's going to be a bit of wood, lots of holes in it with numbers, so you can keep everything in order. I'm going to go through and I'm going to individually cut these just a smidgen longer than I need. Just a smidgen, but I do want it to be accurate. There you go, there's a fret left there. I've put it on there, I've taped it on, because we'll use that at some point or another. Probably won't use it. I actually prefer to buy Jescar pre-radiused wire. I need to get another batch in. I just love Jescar frets, I think it's lovely. StewMac stuff's good, but not my favourite, These are pretty accurate. Next stage is nipping the tangs. A boring job, it is a bit laborious. We'll go through 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky, if you've not quite got over the line. Fret tang nippers come with 2 different ends. Again, not a perfect tool. Fret's going to go in there. I don't have to nip a lot because we've only got binding, but there you go. That's what that does. I don't know if you can see that. It's just nip the end, but it's not a particularly clean cut. And if you try and take too much doing this, you'll deform the fret. So you have to keep an eye on the fret. Make sure he's not fucking bent out, because you can do that. And if you do, the only thing you can do is throw it away. And if you've only bought enough fret wire to do 1 fret job, you're in a bit of trouble. So don't fucking do that. Out comes me filerific. Let's get down here. Look, here's a little trick for you. I'm sure I've gone through this before. I've got a little notch in me bench here. And I'm going to gently file that away until it's lovely and flat. You can see that. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but maybe. I'm shit at this camera lark. I've got to go through now and do all of them. I'm visually inspecting as I go through and make sure I'm not fucking anything up. See what I mean about it being boring? But you asked for this. So yeah, I'm going to do the rest of these, and I'm going to watch Rick Beato and Dave Gilmore interview on the telly. And I'll come back when we've done the rest, because there's a few things I'm going to do differently, because it wouldn't be a fucking Marlowe Studios video if I wasn't trying something for the first time on camera. I'll learn one day. See you in a bit.
One eternity later.
Right, we're back in the room. Documentary's off on the telly. That probably took me all of 15 minutes. All right, we're chopped out, we're filed. Everything's looking nice and flat and lovely. Perfect. Now, incidentally, I did bend one. And you might be able to see that. You might not be able to see that. It's like trying to see my willy from more than a metre away. Virtually impossible. But I bent one. Probably with a nipper. Maybe with some vigorous filing. I don't know. But that one is fucked. So I used my spare bit. I didn't have a spare bit left over today. We're ready to go. I've treated myself to a little tool, haven't I? I've treated myself to one of them. The fractal fret press. Everyone's got one. You can't be an internet div if you've not got a fractal fret press. So I bought one. I've not tried it yet. There he is. I've just mounted it into my arrangement, and we'll give it a go. Everything's fine. We are looking lovely. Now, the one thing I'm going to do differently on this is I'm going to apply some minge fudge. I've done it before, and my fret, it lubricated the fret slots, and I had a bit of trouble because of it. So I'm not going to do it the same way today. Sorry, I'm looking around for tools. I'm not going to do it the same today. I'm going to put it on very sparingly. Hardly anything at all. I'm just giving me fret slots one more clean out. Right, so I'm going to sparingly put a bit of minge fudge on to basically protect this oak just from the CA glue. We're just going to put a tiny bit on, hardly anything, just the tiniest of coating. Nothing on there, just like you sharted. I'm going against the grain so it doesn't go in the slots. Lovely, simple as that, just the tiniest of coats. Now, I'm going to put ultra thin CA glue in the slots. I'm going to tap these down initially with a hammer. All right, Peter? A dead blow hammer, and then we'll go through and fractal fret press We'll go through and fractal fret press them all together at the end. This comes out faster than you think. All right, there's more going in, so I'll just wick a little bit in the middle.
The next morning.
Right, back in the next day, we've done a bit of gluing, I've done a bit of nipping off. The fractal fret press, not sure about that. Jury's out, very fucking expensive. And like a lot of things in life, I thought it should be bigger. I'd like it to have been bigger. It's not the full width of a fret. I don't know where the thinking was behind that, not making the thing bigger, so it covers the whole fret. But there you go. What am I to fucking comment? I ain't got a clue. I've nipped off my ends, everything's looking nice and level, my frets are looking nice and seated. Just in case anyone's wondering, when I tap my frets in and I clamp them, even though I didn't film it, I'll go through with a fret rocker. This one from Fertilizer, affiliate link below, QVC for assholes. I'll go through and I'll just double check. And if I've got any massive rockers, I'll do my best to level these frets by tapping them all in. You've seen me do that on the Monday Fluff piece a million times. I'll get it as close as I can. There are those out there that believe that that is enough. And on occasion, it is. I wouldn't disagree with the fellas. This is one of my custom builds. I'm aiming for absolute perfection. I'm going to get these and I'm going to seat them as best I can and make sure I've got no massive rockers. But I'm not going to spot level. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to level, crown and repolish because that's just what I do. All right? It's many results, many different techniques. The important thing is get them as close as you can before you start sanding the tops off your frets. And then it's the minimum damage, isn't it? Now, first thing I like to do, I've got me leveling beams. I use crimson leveling beam. I've just put new sandpaper on. Feeling a bit special today. I use crimson ones. If you're in the UK, brilliant tools. There you go. But a lot of you have mentioned me over there, and they have noticed. So thank you very much for that. I did actually notice that Monty Presso did an advert on Facebook, and loads of people tagged me in it. Thank you very much. I've never met the guys at Monty's or spoke to them, and I hope you don't mind my rebranding of Monty Presso. I think Minge Fudge is much more effective, and let's face it, it's something I'd rather touch. I'm going to use a little file and just take off the sharp ends very gently. Lovely. I went on a little bit of an angle, not flat. I don't want to start scratching up your binding too much. Tiny angle, and when you're there, you'll just hear the noise change. Happy with that. Now I'm going to go angled. Angled. I've got this really shit angle file, which I think is a bit too much of an angle, but I might invest in a better one. Lovely. There's a bit of an angle on there. Not too much of a chamfer, just a bit of a chamfer. Now I've got the end chamfered and I've done all the rough work. I'm just going to mark up the tops of my frets. If you've got a little bit of Michael J. Fox about you, then mask up your fretboard. But if you can trust yourself with a marker pen, mark it up. Bear in mind that this wood's got no real finish on it at the minute because of all the sanding. Little check to see if I am flat. I can feel the resistance all the way up the not straight edge there. So I'm happy with that. Let's give it a little touch up. I'm going to start with a bit of 220. And you can see there, I've just touched the pen on the front two. I always start from the back of the fretboard. I'm putting more. If I'm going to take more material because of my technique, I'm going to take it from the back of the fretboard because you're kind of creating a natural fall away. I've literally just gone until the red pen's disappeared. There's a couple of flat frets there. I knew there was a couple that were a little bit high. Fret wire is not perfect. It just isn't. This is why I like Jescar fret wire. I've got to be honest. It's the most consistent I've found. So I'm just going to remark these up now. Now this is what I mean about working on the neck while it's a big chunk of wood. I don't have to support that at all. It doesn't matter how hard I press with this brilliantly flat bit of metal that's going to put equal pressure on most of the frets. I'm not going to do anything to deflect that neck. Not to a discernible level, not to a noticeable level. It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible, Paul. Right, StewMac Z file, still my favourite file of choice. I'm going to re-crown these now. My one tip of this, I'll speed through this bit. I'm just going to nip over, I'm going to re-crown the frets until I've got a very thin line on the top. Permanent pen, LED lighting lies to you, alright? So make sure you look from every angle, because sometimes you'll think, oh, that's perfect. You look for another angle and there's a fucking great red line there. It bullshits you, it does. So we're going to whip through this, I'm going to re-crown these, and then we'll get on with polishing them up and get them pretty close. Does help if you can see what you're doing though. Beautiful, right. Let's see if they can pick that up. We should end up with 1/2 mil of red pen on there. That'll be absolutely fine. It's going to be enough to crown up at the ends. Some people will do different techniques with a leveling beam. I like to, with the super fine one, once I've got to that point, you can in fact just gently take the pen off and go with the fret. You're not taking much off. It's super fine. It's like 400 grit on here. Lovely jubbly. Out comes the fertilizer. Just for an initial touch, I'm going to use the fertilizer a couple of times. It's a nice technique. I'm literally going to hit the fret with a 1500 and that is it. It's basically polishing. And I'm just going to go up and down and just mat the fret up. So there you go, without too much work, because we've stayed level, flat and true and been careful every stage, we've got some lovely consistent frets that I'm confident, spitting everywhere. Spitting! If you could smell my breath, the amount of coffee I've had this morning, that would gag a maggot. That, I'm confident that they are lovely, flat and true. And we should have a decent player. Now the most important bit, or the second most important bit, it's an important bit. We're going to do the fret ends. Now some people will do it downwards. My mate James and a few other people I've seen, they like to get down on the bench and they like to file that way. Right, that's not bad. We've raised some burrs, we've made a bit of a mess of the edge of that binding, but that doesn't matter because now it's on with a bit of sanding. Bit of 320 grit rounded round me finger. Wallop. Get it on your thumb if you want. Thumb it in. Now I'm also taking the edge off that binding just to make the guitar more comfy, feel played in. We're adding years to it, that's the whole point. We're just taking burrs off, we're flattening out the ends of these frets and we're making them feel nice. I'm going to do that both sides. I'm going to do it with 400 grit, then I'm going to do it with 800 grit. And then I'm pretty happy, and I think we're pretty much ready to minge fudge this up. I'll show you one other little step though. There, been up and down there. Hopefully you can see that. The fret ends are nice and tidy. There's no tool marks. I've only gone up to 400 grit. I'll go to 8 as well. But one last thing I'm going to do is just use a couple of very fine sanding pads. Not really going near the top of the frets. I just want to have another go. Make sure there's no tooling marks on the fretboard. One final smooth down. There you go. I'm super happy with that. Everything's matte. This oak's got, you can feel the grain in the oak. So it's, but they're very, very tall frets. So the interaction with the fretboard's minimal. Interesting to see what it's going to play like. It's always a bit of an experiment, isn't it? A lot of brown fretboards have got a bit more of a grain feeling in them. Some people like it, some people don't. Let's minge fudge her up. I'm going to blow my nose because otherwise I might blow a bubble at you. Right, tiny bit of cloth. Away we go. Minge fudge does need to be applied very thick. When I first saw it advertised, they said you should leave it on there for like 12, 36 hours. And I was skeptical. But I have done it a couple of times and it does make a difference. So I'm going to put this on now and then this neck is going to the side until tomorrow where we'll polish off the excess. And there you go, gas mark 6, I'll put it aside. I'm going kayaking now. Do you want to see? Here's a little bit of proof. Bit of Tamar Bridge. Could I look like any more of a prick? Right, it's a bit choppier out to sea here, a bit further back. I'm dressed as the fucking man from Del Monte. Come on, Truffles! There you go! And just like that, with a bit of speedy uppy and all the rest of it, we are actually done. I'm polished up preliminarily. I'll probably have another blast at that. There is not a cheeky rocker in sight. Everything is lovely. That fretboard just darkens down and gets a little bit richer with a minge fudge. Unusual, I know, but I fucking love it. Absolutely chuffed to bits of how that's turned out. Everything's rounded off nicely. There's not a sharp edge in sight and we're pretty good. Do you want a little reminder of how this is going to look? Now bear in mind I've got a Misty Body at the minute. That's my porn name, ironically. Featuring Misty Body. So we've got Misty Body. There's our neck going on there. Bit of stuff. But that will be returned back to the glossy goodness that it's supposed to be once we polish up. And that's what's going to happen in the next episode. I'm going to fly through a few jobs now because I don't need to repeat myself week after fucking week. We'll come back next episode. We will get this put together, preliminarily built and strung up with a set of shit strings. If you're doing a kit guitar, ironically, and it comes with shit strings, keep them, because for your initial build, you can make sure everything works and fits. Then take it apart, do your finishing, which is what we'll do on this one. So in the next episode, we will put it together, get it strung, give it a strum, looking like shit. Make sure it intonates, make sure it sets up, set everything up nicely how we want. Brilliant, happy with that. Take it apart, bit heartbreaking, I know. And then we'll do a polish job, and we'll come put it back together, and we'll let this thing fucking rip. That's what's going to happen in episode 4. You've enjoyed an episode on the neck, which for me, so destroyingly boring. But if you got through it, well done. I owe you a fucking cheeky reach around. I'll see you next week. Special wave with a smelly digit. Always a pleasure.
Rolf Harris, I don't think anybody's seen it. You can see it in retrospect. I can see it now. We've got Jimmy Savile, look at that guy. I don't remember him from back in the TV days. I was too young. I just look at pictures of him these days. Was everybody smoking crack back in the day? Fucking look at him. If I was to draw a pedo, somebody said to me, "Hey, chance you can draw us a wee pedo there, Kev." I'd be going, aye. Big pedo glasses, there we go, big pedo cigar, pedo teeth. How did he get away with that when he was alive? That should have been the court case. You've done something, mate. Fucking look at you. Get in the jail.